The whispering pines in the quiet hamlet of Pine Hollow, Vermont, where snow blanketed the hills and pine trees stretched toward a grey sky, lived Owen and Julia Ray. Owen, 46, was a reserved carpenter who built furniture in his workshop. Julia, 43, was a nurse at the local clinic, her calm demeanour a balm to patients. They'd been married 20 years, their life a tapestry of small joys, no kids, just a pair of horses and a cabin nestled in the woods. But beneath the stillness of their days, a shadow was growing, one that would unravel their world. Prologue. The unseen visitor, it began with a sound. One frigid January night, Owen woke to the creak of floorboards downstairs. Julia's side of the bed was empty. He crept to the stairs and heard whispers. Her voice, soft and urgent, mingled with a man's low rumble. Peering through the banister, he saw her at the door, handing a man in a heavy coat a small bag. The man tipped his hat and vanished into the snow. Julia locked the door and returned upstairs, slipping into bed as if nothing happened. The next morning, Owen asked, "Who was up last night?" She smiled thinly. "Just the wind rattling things." But Owen saw fresh boot prints in the snow outside, too large for her feet. Doubt took root. Chapter 1. The Midnight Errand. A week later, Julia said she was covering a night shift at the clinic. She left at 8 p.m., bundled in her parka. By midnight, Owen couldn't sleep. He called the clinic. No answer. Worried, he drove there, only to find it dark, closed. On a hunch, he headed to Pine Hollow Road, a lonely stretch near the woods. There, half hidden by pines, was Julia's green Subaru. Parked beside a black pickup, through the trees he saw her with the man from that night. Tall, rugged, with a beard and a scar across his jaw. They stood close, her hand on his arm. He gave her a thick envelope. She tucked it away. Owen's heart pounded, but he stayed silent, watching them part. Julia drove off. The man lingered, lighting a cigarette. Chapter 2. The scarred stranger Owen didn't confront her. The next day, he asked his friend Hank, a bartender at the Pine Hollow Inn, about a scarred man with a pickup. Hank nodded. "That's Caleb Morrow. Moved here a year ago, lives in a trailer up the ridge. Keeps odd hours. Folks say he's trouble." Owen dug into town records. Caleb, 45, had a history. 3 years for burglary in New Hampshire, released 5 years back. No link to Julia, but Owen recalled her mentioning a cousin who'd fallen on hard times. Was this him? He searched her car while she showered. In the glove box, a photo of Julia and Caleb, younger, laughing at a fair. On the back, in her handwriting, Caleb, 98. Owen's stomach sank. She'd hidden this for years. Chapter 3. The locked box. Owen grew obsessive. Julia started locking her purse, taking calls in the barn, coming home late with vague excuses. One evening, while she was out, he pried open a locked box in her closet. Inside, stacks of cash, $40,000, plus a burner phone and a map marked with excess along the Canadian border. The phone held text from C. "Next drop's Tuesday. Don't be late. Sent 2 days ago." He called his brother Miles, a retired cop from Burlington. Miles arrived the next day, stern and methodical. "This smells like a smuggling gig," he said. "I'll tail her, but brace yourself. Julia's not who you think." Chapter 4. The third shadow Miles followed Julia the next Tuesday. She didn't go to the clinic but met Caleb at an abandoned mill off Pine Hollow Road. A third figure joined them, a woman, late 30s, with red hair and a leather jacket. Miles snapped photos. She carried a duffel bag and a pistol. "That's Dana Pierce," he reported. "Known fence, moves stolen goods across the border. Caleb's her muscle." Miles planted a mic in Julia's car. The next recording was a gut punch, Caleb's gruff voice. Dana's pushing for more. "We need another 20K by next month." Julia's shaky. "Owen's asking about the cash. I can't keep this up." Dana snapped. "Fix it, or he's collateral." Owen gripped the table. He was in their crosshairs. Chapter 5. The border run Owen, and Miles scouted the mill, finding a hidden room beneath. Inside, crates of jewelry, cash and fake ID. Stolen goods worth over $100,000. Photos showed Julia at drops, Caleb unloading crates, Dana counting bills. A ledger listed payments. Julia's cut was $50,000 so far. One entry read, "Owes oblivious, one last run, then we split." Owen pieced it together. Julia wasn't just cheating. She was smuggling with Caleb, using her nurse job as a cover. But why? He recalled her father's gambling debts, cleared mysteriously before his death. Had she learned this life from him? Chapter 6. The whispered truth Owen confronted Julia that night, the box's contents spread out. She crumpled, sobbing. "Caleb's my brother," she confessed. "Half-brother, Dad's secret. He got me into this years ago, moving stuff for Dad's debts. I stopped when we married, but he came back last year broke. Dana's his partner. She threatened to expose me unless I helped. She swore the money was to buy her freedom, a final run to pay Dana off." Owen pressed. "And me," she whispered. "I didn't want you dragged in." He didn't believe her fully. He called Miles. "We take them down." Chapter 7. The snowy ambush. Owen and Miles set a trap. They fed Dana a fake drop time through Julia's burner, claiming a big shipment. That night, snow falling thick, they hid near the mill. Caleb, Dana, and a fourth man, short, wiry, with a limp, loaded a truck. Julia stayed back per Owen's orders. Miles tipped off the state police. Sirens pierced the night as troopers stormed in. Dana pulled a gun, firing wildly. A bullet grazed Owen's arm before she was tackled. Caleb surrendered, hands up. The wiry man bolted but was caught in the woods. Police seized $80,000 in cash and stolen goods, enough for hard time. Chapter 8. The silent divide. Julia faced trial, testifying against Caleb and Dana for leniency, 18 months probation. The wiry man, Dana's cousin, took a deal, pinning more on her. Owen didn't wait for Julia's release. He sold the cabin, moved the horses to a farm upstate, and settled in a new town, leaving Pine Hollow behind. Epilogue. A fading echo. Pine Hollow's whispers faded, the pines standing sentinel over new secret. Owen worked alone in his new shop, the horses grazing nearby, wondering how 20 years could dissolve in snow and lies. Julia wrote once, promising amends. He tore it up. Some bonds he knew were meant to break under the weight of the past.